Welcome back to another episode of the Backholder Pod. So I think over the last few videos that we've published over the last few weeks as well, we have been focused a lot on many money topics, retirement topics, and stuff like that. So today specifically, we'll pivot a little bit in terms of looking on expenditure and how many of the consumers try to rationalize our thoughts. And interestingly, one of the TikTok videos, one of them, I'm not going to name names that I've come across, that was expounding on this very interesting idea around girl math. So I'll pass the time over to Kelvin, where he will share a little bit more about what this concept is and maybe his own thoughts thereafter.
Okay, so even though it's called girl math, I think even guys also use it to rationalize their spending lah. So it's not necessarily girl math, it can be a boy math also. But basically, here's how it works lah. So here's an example. So if you want to buy a dress, or if you want to buy a dress, also can lah. That costs $50 now. But if you waited for until it's on sale at $30, this means you have made a $20 profit. Or let's say if you buy a headphones that cost $200, but if you wear it for more than 200 times, that means it becomes a free headphone lah. So that's how they rationalize this thought lah. Another one is that if you don't own a car, but you take cabs all the time, this means you are still making money. because you save on the car, but you are using the money to take cab. So it's weird lah. So I want to hear what is Eric. Oh shit, Eric ran away.
Eric ran away. He hear you call him out, then he ran away.
Eric, what do you think as someone who owns a car and everything?
But I drive my car like at least 3 to 4 times a day.
So the car is free?
Yeah, technically speaking, right? I save money, right? Because girl math.
So what does it mean? You every time you drive 4 times and then you save on each time $30 Grab lah. Is that how you calculate?
Okay, so think about it. One day, right, I drive roughly 4 times, like to and fro something, right? 4 times. Then 1 year, 365 days, right? Let's say I'm in Singapore 350 days. Let's say 2 weeks, let's say I go overseas. 350 times 4 is how much? 1,005 lah.
1,004.
1,004. Math sucks. Okay, so 1,004, right? And then 1,004 times 10 is 14,000.
Yeah, correct.
All right, 14,000 times the average Grab fare
$20.
is $20. So
28K lor.
How much?
14,000 times $20, 280K.
280K. So I literally made how much? 190K by driving a car. Guy math for the win.
Your petrol cost don't need to count.
Okay lah, even if you count
All
in
your
all
road
the
tax, everything don't need to count.
all the count,
Insurance don't need to
all
count.
the things you count in, right? I still make about 100K.
Hey, you need
Steady
to
work.
include the time cost also. So
Hey, I save time leh.
yeah, you save time. So
Yeah.
even you profit even more.
Hmm.
Bunti, I think time to buy a car also.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sounds
actually,
convincing, right?
I thought of an example based on what Eric said. So if I do something, so let's say if I don't buy Alibaba, right? Does it mean I've made 50K or 100K?
Wow,
I don't get the question.
Wow, this one good.
Because you
Wait,
buy already, you straight away lose 100K.
But the same logic can apply for all the stocks that you back hold now, what? Is it not? And
What you
then on the
mean?
flip side, because this whole idea or this whole concept is on the premise of opportunity cost, right? So if you keep comparing on this basis, you need to compare it to something. So now you are comparing Alibaba with not buying. What if I compare it to a stock that actually went up like Nvidia. I never buy Nvidia. I buy something else that
Yeah.
lost even more money. Then I not only not lose money, I not only never make money, I lost like multiple folds of amount of
No,
money.
that's not right. Nvidia, you have to say you didn't buy Nvidia at its peak, which is about $500. So from 500 drop to 400. See, imagine you just count by 100 shares, right? So 100 times 100. So that's 10K lah. So you just earn 10K there.
Yeah, for not buying into Nvidia when it was at its peak. So
Yes.
I think back to the whole idea of this concept, right? I just wanted to ask, any of y'all have rationalized your thoughts or rationalized any of your buyings before, like even in recent times, to say that you save X amount of money
Can
or to tell
I
yourself
can
a
I
story?
can I share my
Sure.
my story? This is my guy math lah, because I've been struggling with myself, like whether or not to buy the AirPod. Like ever since it was launched, like quite a long time ago. Like you all know AirPod, right? So when it first came out, I thought, very silly idea leh. Like the AirPod don't have wires, very easy to get lost, right? So I didn't buy into it. But after a few years, I see so many people using, like, quite useful eh. And I'm thinking like, oh, should I buy it? Should I buy it? Then the guy math in me start to kick in and say that, okay, if you use it a lot, then you'll be worth the $200 right? But then I think again, like, $200 like compared to the wired headphones is like cost next to nothing. So this $200 is like I lose $200 if I buy this instead of the wired one. So my guy man again thinking, if I don't buy this, right, I can eat like 100 days of cai fan. So it made me unable to push the buy button like for a few years. I literally just bought it like this year only. Yeah. So what pushed me over the edge was like I really couldn't take it anymore. I was like, I think it's quite useful lah. I can listen to the podcast while I'm like literally buying cai fan or mopping the floor and all those things. Yeah.
But you can do it also with a wired headphone, what?
Wired cannot.
Why cannot?
Yeah.
Put in pocket and link lah.
No, very mafan.
No,
So
the
it's
question,
not cannot. It's my fun.
the question is when you decided to buy, right? What kind of like girl maths or guy maths
Oh yeah, I
that you
use a
applied?
little bit of girl math. The girl math that I used was because I had saved up in my saving account, right? So the OCBC and UOB give me some interest. So I got a few $100 of interest. Then I was thinking like, I'm just using like 50% of the interest to buy the AirPod.
50% of 1 day interest.
Not
Okay
1
lah,
day.
12 hours.
1 month.
给
1
他
month. 1 month. So I rationalize half of 1 month's interest. I think I can afford to buy one AirPod. So it really took me about, I think 5-6 years to get over myself.
Actually,
Yeah.
this is a smart move, using interest to buy stuff that you want to buy. So you are not using the capital itself, which personally I would consider that as free money. If you're not using your capital, that's free money. But
But
I,
that's
I,
girl
I'm
math.
still that's not really girl math. That's the principle of how anyone can fire, right? Because if you're not touching the capital, if you're just touching the return, that money is technically unlimited money. As long as your capital is not used.
But on the flip side, there's still a cost, right, to this interest, because assuming that you can keep reinvesting, the interest will grow more interest, right? So you are still taking money out of the system or process that you created in a way. But actually the underlying logic, at least for me, when you drive purchasing decision is really on what you value lah. Because at the end of the day, like Eric said, right, if you think this will greatly boost your quality of life, go for it lah. And You just talk about saving 200,000, then you tell me $200 you spend 3-4 years. I sometimes also think, I don't know what some of y'all thinking, to be very, very honest. Like, what kind of weight are you putting in terms of, on an absolute level at least, rather than what? So, but if you compare, like, for example, now I'm using an iPhone 13, the 15 just released 2 years later, and then you say whether you want to upgrade. Is the upgrade really gonna bring in great changes in quality of life? Probably not, because your 13 is functioning and the screen is probably not cracked and the phone is
But
probably
new
good.
iPhones can attract more girls, right?
Like, the girls know what they look at the camera. I think the camera now is the same. 14 and 15 cannot even differentiate already. So what does it attract at the end of the day? I
Right.
mean, yeah, Kelvin, go ahead.
No, nothing.
But yeah, I think in terms of the quantum of quality of life, that's one very important factor. So if you compare wired versus wireless, sure, there is a huge bump, then go for it. But yeah, so I all things stay equal. I think at least for me, if there is no huge bump, I wouldn't really press the button. That's my perspective.
But the thing is, I don't know whether would there be a huge bump or not. I just wanted to get it to see how it works.
But you try already, you'll know what. And $200 is not really a huge dent in the grander scheme of things, right? So if you tell me you're spending $200,000 to test something, or see whether it's a huge increase in quality of life, maybe there's a consideration, but maybe not for Eric lah. He's playing in the 20 billion range lah. So I think all things considered, yeah, you need to look at it in totality. Hey guys, have you heard?
So what, your stock 10x?
Not yet lah. But Weibo Fund Any Amount promo is back.
Wow, any amount?
Any amount. You fund $1 also can. Then you'll get free gifts.
So if you haven't signed up to Weibo yet, you can sign up using the links down below.
But
Let's hear from Bunti.
Any recent splurges or indulgence?
Indulgence, no leh, can't think of any leh, recently.
Bunti is the kind that all in S&P 500. He don't waste money and time on indulgence.
Yeah, but I got
yeah.
one. Because just now we talked about like each of us have to come up with our own girl maths, right, or guy maths. So I got one, but it's not from me, it's from Kelvin actually. So talking about, I think we discussed about like buying HDB or houses or condo, whatever. Huh? Then I think we talked about like, okay, mortgage, how much to pay mortgage. Then Kevin suddenly told me like, okay, mortgage, no need to pay what? This one you use CPF. It's as if like CPF money is not your money. So it's like practically the house is free, you know, if you use CPF money to pay for your mortgage. So I think that one is quite interesting. It's as if like as long as your CPF money is able to support, then the house is free. That's quite enlightening to me lah. So I still recall that conversation.
technically it is.
I mean,
it's
you have to
quite
pay yourself
surprising.
back, man.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
quite
sorry.
surprising because Kelvin, you are contributing to CPF yourself. So I would think that self-employed people are a bit more sensitive because you're pumping in the CPF on your end. It's not from an employer. So I would think that Bunti would think this way because he got that 17%. But for you to think that way, I think it's a bit.
No, the part is compulsory, right? So either way, you can't run away from it. So yeah, so to me that money doesn't exist at all.
Wow. Very good, very good. I think you managed to convince yourself that money doesn't exist at all.
Yeah.
Hey, but Bunti, do you see there's this comment from one of our previous video, right? There's this one of our commenters said that this headphone is like peeling off or something. Then he asked you to go and buy a new one. Do you see that comment?
No, I didn't, but it is peeling off. This is quite old already. You can see.
Yeah. Is it time to buy a new one?
No, this is good, man.
I think that specific model is quite relatively on the pricier side, right? If I'm not wrong. It's not
Is
a cheap skate.
Not really. It's a wired one, you see. I got no money to buy.
Audio Technica,
Bluetooth
which brand, which series again? I
This
forgot.
is M50 or M50X. Forgot already.
200 plus, is it?
Something like that.
200
I think
plus.
probably more.
Yeah, last time should be more expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on the pricier end lah. As in, it's not your
Audio-Technica.
$50 cheapskate
But this
headphone.
one, I can tell, right, how different. For example, like I watch like I forgot which one already. Okay, I watched some TV series, right? Like you can hear sounds that normal speaker can't hear. So that's how powerful it is.
You're not hallucinating, it's from the film.
No, some background music. You know when
Okay.
series is playing, right? There's dialogue, right? It's background. There's some like some background sound, and normal headphone you won't hear that one. Yeah, so it's quite good.
I think also just to buy on this topic as well, I wanted to kind of understand like how was your spending habits formed? Because now we are talking about consumption, right? Like what were your major influence in terms of how you look at spending in general? Like for example, people are saying, oh, Bunti, your headphones really peeling off already, and then you're still putting yourself out online, and then you're gonna present an image that people think, why like that? Why I'm gonna listen to you? Then little did they realize you have like a $500,000 portfolio but don't spend to buy a headphone. So people like, what the heck you're doing, right? So I just wanted to kind of understand what's the thought process and your spending habit.
Actually, I have. I show you another headphone.
Oh, he show headphone.
That's for a different activity.
What activity?
Yeah, so
Is that not the same one? Why does it look the same?
Is it the same one?
all black lah. This one Sony one. I think for what's the model? I don't remember the model. But this is like this is Bluetooth one. So I think more expensive. All these Bluetooth these headphones, right? I think they cost probably $400-500 something like that. So to me, it's not cheap lah. But I do enjoy all this lah. Yeah.
But pivoting back to the point,
still got spend money, but this stuff, right, is like you can use for where are we? I just show the headphone just now. So this is a Sony one, but later I'll provide you the model number. I don't think it's a cheap one lah. You know, you spend few $100 for just a headphone, right? Which you can buy something cheaper at $50. So to me, this is like indulgence lah. But I do enjoy this kind of products lah. As long as it's good one, I appreciate lah. Yeah.
So back to the point on spending habits, right? Was there main influences on how I don't know where you get your spend. How do you form your spending habits to tell yourself that you need to be not so to be more frugal on the other side and to not spend much? No.
No specific answer to it. It's just that I think it's like some stuff I will enjoy more. I will more willing to pay. Some other stuff I just not willing to pay lah. For example, like public transport versus Grab, right? Grab I'm not willing to pay. I think in one of the recent video, Mr. Lu also commented, right? Like what $35 Grab, right? To me, even if it is 30, 25, also I think it's too expensive. So I'm not willing to pay those money. But when it comes to product that is well made, right? I do appreciate that I'm willing to pay lah. So I think category by category, it's hard to say how I come up with this type of like the how the decisions making side. Yeah.
Right. Then for Kelvin, I know Kelvin is also on the more frugal side.
Actually, no, I'm a bit opposite of Bunti. So for product, right, I will try to go for the cheapest one. But for Grab, this one I learned from Darren. Don't know, is it a good influence or bad influence? So for Darren, he takes Grab a lot lah. Actually, I don't know if he knows how to take a bus or not.
What kind of comment is that?
But that was a real thing. Like when I meet him, there was once he took a bus. Then I was quite surprised. When I sent him back to his place, because he was visiting me. He came through the bus or MRT lah. So when he's going back, right, I was quite concerned that he didn't know how to take a bus back. So I had to like bring him all the way to the nearest bus stop. I said, oh, you take this bus. When the bus comes, you just tap your card. but anyway, I've learned from him that basically if you are earning more than a certain amount, right, taking a Grab is actually worth it lah. So let's say in my case lah, let's say if I earn 4K a month, 4K divided by 25 days, divided by 8 hours a day, that's about $20 an hour lah, my hourly rate. So as long as I earn more than 4K, this $20, I'm okay to pay it because it's a break-even point for me taking a Grab. Because by saving this 1 hour, assuming I travel from east to the west, by spending $20 on Grab, I can earn back this $20 by working an extra hour. So that's how I rationalize taking a Grab nowadays. So yeah. So
But
yeah.
this works only for people that
Exactly. This only works
work for
people
themselves in a way where you can
Yeah.
control your time, right? If
Yeah,
not,
these are
if you're an
correct.
employee.
So for Eric, that's why he has a car, because the car buys back his time directly. It's in a real
Right.
man,
And of
real
course, you
direct.
cannot be lazy. Like, you cannot tell yourself, I'm going to buy back my 1 hour, then go back and watch Netflix or something. It doesn't work that way.
Actually, it also works that way. So for Eric, let's say if we, not only for Eric, let's say if we work, technically for people who are self-employed, the more they work there, the more they earn ma. But the reason we have to spend time with our family is because to us that time is worth more than the amount that we are earning. Let's say if Eric earn 10K an hour, right? Which I believe may be possible. So to him, by spending that 1 hour, his family time is worth more than 10K. So yeah.
Eric, do you have any comments?
My wife will tell me, go and work. If you can earn 10K, go and work. Don't spend time with me. Yeah.
But in terms of your personal spending habits, how has it culminated to today?
I definitely agree with Kelvin on the point that, I see that the time spent on public transport, right? I see it more like if I can save that time commuting, and I basically move around faster without having to wait or call a Grab and all that, right? I see it as time saved, which I can afford to do things that are a bit more productive. Like personally, I'm not earning 10K an hour lah, but if let's say I'm not giving one-to-one tuition now, but if I am, right, I charge 150 an hour. So that's my hourly rate. So if you were to ask me, right, is it worth it to take Grab? Let's say I go to and fro different students' place, definitely, right? Because with the time saved, I can squeeze in one more student in a day. Yeah, so that definitely makes sense if you can maximize your time. Having said that, right, I think that's why some of these people, when they earn above a certain amount, right, they tend to look for people to outsource the more mundane things to. Like for example, Kelvin may outsource his editing, his video scripts, and all those things lah. So for myself, I'm also looking to outsource, like, hey, can I get someone to clean my house, clean up my center? Yeah, I don't have to do those. They can do it. Yeah, just pay them like $200 a month. But I buy back how many hours? I would think per month I buy back 8 hours. So I think that's a trade that you should make if you are making that kind of income lah.
I do the opposite. I today just like vacuum the floor, mop the floor, everything DIY. So everything opposite.
But it's different. You see some
Yeah.
people like the rich people, right? They actually spend time doing housework because they don't need to bother about earning money already. So I believe Bunti is
I
actually
agree
that
too.
range.
I think he uses that as a pastime,
Yeah.
He needs to get his mind off work or like too much stress.
Yeah, you say like I'm earning too much today. What can I do to not earn so much? Like it's getting boring already. So that's why he's doing so much
No,
housework.
that
right?
one definitely no. But I do see it as a exercise because after mopping the floor, sometimes also like okay, like there's a bit of sweat. I think it's good for physical. Treat as an exercise.
I'm curious about Chiking. So Chiking, how do you justify spending 1K on food? Yeah, because that time you mentioned.
I don't justify, I just spend. I don't think everything in life needs a justification. So no, like it's it's an over time thing. I went back to look at my expenses actually. 1,000 is on the higher end, but it's probably closer to 600 to 800 if you talk about food alone, like excluding transport and whatever, which is, I agree, it's still on the higher side. But I think in general, there are two types of people when you talk about food, right? There are people that live to eat and there are people that eat to live. So personally, at least for me, initially, I eat to live. But then after having experienced some stuff and some life-changing experiences, then you tend to appreciate a little bit more. And personally, for me, I'm not a very huge spender in other aspects of life. So a lot of the things that I can go, I try to save money lah. And that's where you kind of strike the balance and trade off law. So there is a limited resource in terms of money. You just allocate accordingly lah. And sometimes other places of life needs to take a hit. So yeah, I'm generally not a huge spender lah, to be honest, compared to a lot of the people that really can spend. But yeah, I hope that I think I'm frugal, but that's it. And think about it, I can Punti missing again. But think about it, I don't know, I can film videos to try to cover the gap up. I hope that's my perspective.
You thought until like you're doing OnlyFans. I film
No.
videos to cover the gap.
I film YouTube videos about finance to cover the gap. I mean, this is also one avenue, right? That we can better off be sleeping and preparing for the day. Oh, by the way, for those of you who are wondering, now it's like 11 p.m. on a Sunday and we are filming this. So yeah, these are all just trade-off in life that you have to get comfortable with lah. And there is no other solutions around it. So
Hey
yeah,
guys, I got one last question. Have you all heard
Sure.
of this thing called money Dao?
never.
Never heard of money Dao. There's this guy that wrote this book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And he wrote about this thing called money Dao, right? He said that these are actually things that you're willing to spend extravagantly on by cutting back mercilessly on the things that you don't care about. So he's claiming that everyone has a certain money Dao. There are things that you value, that you find important. So those things that you don't find important, like branded bags or whatnot, then you just cut back mercilessly. But the things that you care about, you spend extravagantly. Yeah. So I don't know whether, do you guys have like a money Dao? Like what are the things that you will spend no compromise?
I
Do
do value convenience and quality of life quite highly lah. So like you talk about the topic on public transport, right? So personally now I'm not in the capacity to everywhere I go Grab lah. But I think I try to maximize my time in a way where I try to be a little bit more productive on the MRT where I'm traveling. If I'm able to, I will bring along my laptop and you start to ideate lor, and to try to be a little bit more productive on the time spent. If happens that if I'm traveling, if I can't, then I try to do things and to fit my schedule around. If I don't travel this timing, then I don't travel lah. But if not, I don't think I don't think I'm spending extravagantly, even though Kelvin makes up to me like whoever that don't eat cai fan is like spending extravagantly. But I just like to say sometimes you just visit a few nicer places lah. That's why the bill starts to get a little bit higher. But yeah, I don't do fine dining and stuff. Yeah, Bunti
Sorry, what was the questions?
on money Daos. Do you have places, areas in life that you spend
Yeah.
extravagantly?
Yeah, I'll spend on stuff that can help me avoid the pain. So and then I need to define like what situations that I feel painful. Right? I just can name one. Okay, to me, let's say if I go back to my hometown in Kuantan, Pahang, right? So Malaysia. So last time I still okay to travel by bus, go up and down the immigrations. To me, that one nowadays too painful already. So I can avoid that pain by traveling by flight. Then I travel by flight now. But now I have to buy for 4 tickets, right, every time I go back. So, but I don't feel like, I need to, make myself painful spending that few $100s. I think it's like I just spend like sometimes I think even like without thinking. Yeah.
I got one more thing also for on this time wasting part, right? I got one time I was damn tilted by my old computer because I was like basically, I don't know, I was editing, and then the whole thing just keep hanging. Wow, that one I cannot. Immediately I just went to buy another laptop or something because but I know Kelvin can tahan the computer keep hanging. Later he can share the story of what happened that was his breaking point to get a new laptop. But that's something that I cannot take it like. Maybe it's a young person thing that instant, I won't call it instant gratification, but a lot of time wastage in between. But then when I see my dad, right, my dad uses a very old com and then it freaking lags. Every time it logs in, right, it needs like 10 minutes of buffering time. But he's retired, so he can wait for that 10 minutes of buffering time. But yeah, Kelvin?
Yeah, so recently I changed my com. If you see the camera quality, you guys will know. So at first it was, I think I was using the com too heavily for editing lah, not for anything else. To justify a bit. I think this com was actually a pass down from my wife. Actually, a lot of things is passed down lah. Like for example, this earphone passed down from my wife. My clothes is a free t-shirt, this kind of stuff. So I rarely spend on myself lah. Then my com recently start to blue screen every once a week, then becomes every 5 days, then every 4 days. Then 2 weeks ago, it was hanging every 2 minutes. It was going to blue screen every 2 minutes. So I cannot tahan already, finally. So I went to straight away go and buy a MacBook Pro. But to me, it's justified because I'm using this to earn money ma. Otherwise, I think I would still tahan this for another 1 more year before I change my com.
Actually, I wanted to go back to that idea on in terms of understanding your own spending habits, right? Is it just from young you don't spend on yourself, or what? What kind of experiences?
I think it's what Eric said, the money dial thing, DIAL, money dial.
So what's
I spent a lot on games. So last time all my pocket money were going into pirated games. Yeah, we don't buy original games in Malaysia. It's pirated games. Yeah, it's like $10 per CD. Then when I realized that you can actually pirate games online, wow, it's like discovering heaven like that. Through downloading through torrent, this kind of stuff. Yeah, but nowadays it's quite impossible, right? Because there's Steam, there's PS5 games. You have to buy original games, so it's not so easy to pirate game nowadays. But that's the only thing I will spend on lah. The rest, I don't see it. Like food, I just eat food to stay alive. T-shirt, nowadays I just try to grab free t-shirts from brokers and robo-advisors. Actually, I'm trying to collect, it's like Pokemon card thing already. I'm trying to collect everyone's t-shirt. Yeah, I think only trousers I have to spend on trousers. Yeah. The rest don't need
and underwear. If not, Tiger Broker, you help them. They also print underwear. No, right?
Yeah, no one will know that. Hey.
Okay, that's fairly interesting. I think for those of you who have other similar experiences on, like maybe in childhood or what has impacted your idea in terms of spending habits, feel free to leave in the comments below. And of course, if you want to burn any of us, please feel free to comment down below as well. If not, don't forget to smash that cute little like button as well. And we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.